life is just evolution, right? When you have an illness, it seems to speed up that rate and can be quite transformational for you. And if you've got the courage to let go of who you were and embrace what it's teaching you and who you could be, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, just amazing and incredible. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the experiences that I've had.
Hello and welcome to the Recovery Project. Richie Barnett couldn't join us today. He's working a new full-time job. So I'm interviewing today, and we have the wonderful Anaya here with us. She had rheumatoid arthritis, which sounded like 1 year of absolute hell, getting worse all the time, and then a second year of a really beautiful recovery.
So I pretty much had a year of awesomeness then, and I was just out and I was running, in the hills, 20K in the weekend, just getting amongst it all, living the dream. I was back at work. It was fantastic. And then I got another viral infection, which, that's cool. And I hadn't quite fully recovered, but I'd signed up for an adventure race, and I really wanted to do it because I'd had to not do the other one because of chronic fatigue. And so it was my dream. I really wanted to do it. So I went and did it. Had the best day ever. It was incredible. It was awesome. Like, I was just, if anything was sore at the end of the day, it was my cheeks from smiling all day, because I had such a fantastic day. And then at the end of it, I had a coughing fit, and I subluxed my sternoclavicular joint, cracked a couple of ribs. And so then I was in massive pain, and it got worse and worse, and the inflammation got worse and worse. And the doctors weren't doing anything for me. I was telling them, something's going on. This is really bad. They didn't know what. They couldn't help me. They were just giving me painkillers. I'd never really had painkillers before. But I didn't have any alternatives. It was like I was on a train that I knew was going to crash, and I was trying to get help and tell people, this train's going to crash. And they're like, what's that over there? No one was really hearing me, and it was very frustrating. And eventually, I could feel it go down to my knees, to my shoulders, to my neck, to my jaw. Like, I was like, those bobbly things in the car. That's what my neck felt like. It felt like my head was just going to fall off my body. And I'd been to a rheumatologist. He was like, no, you're okay. Even though my CRP was measure of systemic inflammation was slowly creeping up. And I was like, I'm not okay. And it's like, oh, your flexibility is normal. I'm like, yeah, for a 90-year-old. I'm like, I'm not 90. I'm an athlete. Anyway, that continued. And then finally, I had a Baker's cyst rupture in my knee. My knees were like potatoes. I couldn't walk. I was on crutches. I couldn't sit down on the toilet. I couldn't, lift up a cup. I didn't have the strength to do it. Brush my hair, get dressed, I'd sort of rock back on the bed, which was excruciatingly painful. And I'd like get my underwear and kind of like lasso my legs to try and get my underwear and pull them down. I couldn't straighten my leg. I couldn't bend my leg. I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain. It was awful. I got the only thing that would touch the pain was Voltaren, which of course we know is terrible for your guts. And but I was still in a lot of pain, but it just sort of took a bit of edge off. I got so down and depressed. I didn't want my life. I didn't want to die, but I didn't want the life in the future that felt like was on the cards. Anyway, when the Baker's cyst ruptured, I had to go back to I went back to the rheumatologist. I had to take prednisone, which is also not a nice drug.
No, it doesn't make you feel good.
No, actually, it kind of was like, I felt like I had 20 coffees, but I had to take that in order to be able to spend, 5 hours in the vehicle to drive to the rheumatologist. And then he was like, yeah, okay, right. And he diagnosed me with rheumatoid arthritis. Again, I haven't taken that on.
No.
Certainly there's something happening in my body, but you know. So I didn't want to do drugs at first, which honestly, I think almost every single person who is diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis doesn't want to do drugs, because you know that the drugs are also anti-cancer drugs and they come with all sorts of side effects and things. But then I did the drugs. I found this incredible program that helps support people to recover from rheumatoid arthritis by focusing on healing the gut, nutrition, exercise, and, you know, stress management, relaxation. And I started that pretty much the same time I started on medication. And so it's hard to tell what's what, but in saying that, I've gone from not being able to move to I can run 5K easily now. I can jump. You know, I couldn't jump before. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to run. I had to learn how to, you know, move. I'm back working. I've been pain-free for a long time now.
What are your markers like now?
Oh, well, since starting the program, my CRP was at about 69, which is quite high. And they don't usually worry about people under 5. Mine's been under 1 since a month of starting the program.
Nice. So what's that program called?
It's called the Paddison Programme.
The Paddison Programme.
Paddison, Paddison. Okay. Yeah, and it's just been fantastic. So much knowledge there. There's an online forum, so you get to talk to, you know, other people that have had all these problems. It's just all the information you could possibly want is just incredible. And yeah, that's just been. I've halved my medication.
Nice.
I know I've got hope, and feel quite emotional about this.
That's
but,
all right.
Yeah, I know that I'm going to be running in the hills again. And I mean,
Nice.
I am a little bit now, but I know that all those things that I love to do, I can do again. And it's just, you know, you have these experiences, and if you allow them to, life is just evolution, right? When you have an illness, it seems to speed up that rate and can be quite transformational for you. And if you've got the courage to let go of who you were and embrace what it's teaching you and who you could be, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, just amazing and incredible. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for the experiences that I've had.
So is the Paddison Programme specifically for rheumatoid arthritis, or is that any chronic illness? Or
it does really focus on rheumatoid arthritis, in saying that there are, because obviously a lot of people have a couple of things going on. So there are people on there that have got other things, so Raynaud's, fibromyalgia, in addition potentially to RA. There are some people that join it who have who have other things, psoriatic arthritis, reactive arthritis, all those different kinds of things.
So it's all in that autoimmune kind of
all in
area.
that autoimmune. Yeah, and it really helps people across the board, because, you know, the statistics suggest, statistics that, you know, over 90% of people with autoimmune things going on have got gut dysbiosis and a leaky gut. And even if they've had it tested and it says that they haven't, those tests are not very accurate. They are quite limited, so I wouldn't place all my money on those. And
and it makes sense that the gut would also be depleted if the immune system is going AWOL. You know, there's an energy imbalance in the body, isn't there?
Yeah,
which often links back to being stuck in a stress state.
Yeah, and with the, you know, with the arthritis, for me, it's a reactivity thing. You know, so same as chronic fatigue, you're over responding. Chronic fatigue, your nervous system's over responding. Arthritis, your immune system's over responding, and both of those are so closely linked And I believe that if I'd healed my gut when I had chronic fatigue, then I may not have developed the rheumatoid arthritis. And so it's, you know, it's really seeing your body as a very integrative thing and one system. You know, all these systems, and we know that with chronic fatigue, because you start developing all these other secondary symptoms, and it going, you know, round and round like a merry-go-round, collecting different ailments.
I think there's also a pattern with you where you it's that push with your body, which I feel like you've now in the second journey sort of learnt to balance your life a bit more. Would that be?
Yeah, absolutely. Well? And it's funny because I set goals every month, but they're not goals, they're just like inspirations. But I set them and I literally, for the most part, forget about them. And I set them and I'm like, oh, that's a bit audacious. Good God, how am I going to manage that? And then I pretty much forget about them. And then I'll come back at the end of the month and I'll be like, oh my goodness, I did those. But it's like I've taken like the pressure off to do these things. And if I don't, no big deal. And it's just, I think my way of being in the world has changed a lot, and certainly from the chronic fatigue, and more so from, well, and an additional degree, shall we call it, with the rheumatoid arthritis. I have really learnt to love myself, respect myself, be kind and compassionate with myself in a way that I just, you know, didn't and hadn't beforehand. And I mean, you can't really ask for more than that, can you? I mean,
it's a good thing to get out of it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yes, so if we look at the metaphysical meaning behind chronic fatigue, I mean, there's many things that can cause it, but the pushing yourself too far for fear of not being enough. And so, you know, here was you always needing to prove another race, another step higher, another thing. You know, which it came from sometimes a place of joy and fun, but also a lack of sort of self-care and self-love, I think.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't do things if they're not fun now. You won't find me running around the streets. You know, you just won't. I'm out in the environment and places that are inspiring and inspirational. And I think the other funny thing with me is, because these are, you know, the exercise, all those running and biking, I talk about them a lot because they're my, you know, one of my biggest sources of joy. So it makes people think that I'm really hard-assed about them, but I really am not. It just sounds like I am, because it's, you know, it's just what I love. If, you know, some people are into singing and dancing or whatever. This is what I really love. It's what really feeds me.
So you're doing it from a place of self-love and care and fun now, which is a different motivation.
And I mean, I don't train for anything, because training, well, I guess the word training just doesn't sound like fun for me. I just want to be fit for life, so I can get up and go and do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And so that's pretty much what I do.
Nice. Well done on your 2 recoveries. And thanks for sharing.
No more.
Well, hopefully, I mean, if you've learnt the lessons that were causing the illnesses, and, you know, and undone all that stress response in your body, should be a healthy way forward.
And I think, you know, the other thing that's come out of it is I have really found my passion, and I'm doing work, I'm doing stuff now that I really love and enjoy, and it really works for me in ways that when I was teaching full-time it just didn't. And so I feel like more of me is in my life now, and I'm not compromising on it so much. So it's pretty
well
neat.
done, and thanks for sharing. It was great to have you along.
My pleasure. And thank you so much for your part in my journey and recovery too.
My pleasure. Cool.
As I pass from dusk to dawn, I can see the shadows long.